What does it feel like to be seen, to be appreciated, to be valued, to be given choices, to be counted? What does it feel like to be seen? Jesus sees Bartimaeus. Jesus sees you. And all those who have embraced the call to be the Christ, they do too. We have learned during this journey to Jerusalem, portrayed in all these weeks' gospel stories, that Jesus sees. Jesus sees the little children, even when others don't. Jesus sees all those who act in the name of love, regardless of gender or denomination or pronouns, even when others don't. Jesus sees the poor, even when others don't. Jesus sees those with disabilities, even when others don't. Jesus sees those who are shunned and shushed by the church and the government. What does it feel like to be seen? If you happen to read the email I sent yesterday, you already know that our very, very dear friend, for whom we have been praying every week, wrote this regarding his recent court hearing. He wrote, "I have until Friday morning to turn myself in for a sentence of 11 to 23 months in county jail. My lawyer is ecstatic. He was expecting at least 3 years, and the DA pushed hard for 5 to 10 years. My lawyer thinks he can have me out in 6 months. I am grateful." And then he writes, "This judge saw me. He seemed to see the real me, and he went out on a limb for me with this ruling. So I am grateful, exhausted, a little afraid, but mostly grateful." Our friend felt seen. Despite this sentence, he feels mostly grateful. I promised him we would keep him on our prayer list and that we are part of his village. So let us also truly see him. What does it feel like to be seen? A chaplain colleague, Rabbi Stephen, recently introduced me to I had it handy here, recently introduced me to a new translation of the Psalms by Norman Fisher, and it's called Opening to You. His translation of today's Psalm, which is 126, speaks to me of what it feels like to be seen, even when in exile, as the Jewish people were. And it goes like this. When you bring us out from enclosure, we will be like dreamers, our heads thrown back with laughter, our throats vibrating with song, and the others will say, yes, yes. What does it feel like to be seen? And if we wish to be the Christ in the world, the one who sees, right? Who do we need to really see? Jesus saw Bartimaeus, even though he was poor, even though he was shunned by the community, even though he was shushed by the disciples. Who do we need to see? Our dear friend's judge saw him, even though he had a conviction. Who do we need to see? In Paul's letter to the Hebrews, the high priest, according to God's call, is able to see the weak being likewise beset by weakness. I can relate. How are my weaknesses calling me to see others with compassion born from that recognition of my own weakness. Bartimaeus threw off his mantle. What do we need to throw off so that we can be the Christ for one another and see the Christ in one another? Do I need to throw off prejudice, or do I need to throw off my own feelings of unworthiness in order to pull off the amazing feat of being the Christ in the world? For all those who feel excluded and unseen, we listen to Jesus, who, as he did for Bartimaeus, calls you forth, asks you, what do you want? And desires to help you see a future filled with light. And may we all, beset by weakness, follow God's call to see those desires, throw off whatever keeps us from being the Christ, and truly see with God's eyes.